and the raises pre-flop were so small that when there were antes involved, you were getting like 3.5, 4 to 1, and the players were so bad out of position that you could call.
Right. No, I understand.
But in a cash game, when you're playing against competent players, no, I mean, I'm always looking for excuses not to play hands out of position, and I'm always looking for excuses to play hands in position.
The point that I'm trying to make is that no matter what the pot odds are, even if your single hand might be ahead of somebody's range, or you feel like, oh, I've got 9 deuce of diamonds, I'm getting 6 to 1 in the big blind, I have 17% equity, it doesn't matter. That's the point that I'm trying to bring up. The immediate odds don't really make a difference.
It's the same thing in limit hold'em. You know, I talked to Matt Matros about this summer. I talked to a lot of really good limit players about this. If you are a really, really good player at limit post-flop, you can call out of the blind because you're inherently getting 3.5 to 1, and if your opponent's always putting a continuation bet out there, you're getting 4.5 to 1. But the problem is, a lot of players take that into meaning going, well, I'm going to defend from the big blind pretty liberally, without realizing that they are not very good post-flop players. So that one bet they put in their pre-flop ends up costing them 4 more bets before the hand's over. And I think that's where you're going, obviously, in the sense, yeah, if it was just inherently where you're getting 5 or 6 to 1, and that was it, yes, you could make the call.
Well, if you're let's say that you're all in, then you can make the call there. You're all in.
Right, and you're getting 4.5 to 1, 100%.
Pete's got pocket kings here. We got a couple new players here. We got Tony over in seat 4 with ace queen, and he's going to be, this is his first hand, he's in the big blind.
But I'm with you, though. I think inherently mistake begets mistake. This is another new player in the hand. This is Brooks.
We've got 3 people posting dead here as well. There's actually 3 dead ante-posts here.
Which normally is a bigger deal, but the ante's only $5, so it's not as big a deal.
Right, the blind.
Right.
And it looks like Jonathan is called, as is Gavin. This will be interesting to see Pete will play this one. Roy with ace-queen as well. See, now, if I'm Tony, actually, we know Tony. Look at that. That's old school Tony from Old School Live at the Bike. You know, if Tony has 9-3 suited here, I'm not calling just because I'm getting 6 or 7 to 1 in the blind. Here we go.
10-7 deuce.
Interesting
2
flop
hearts.
here.
Yeah, Jonathan's actually flopped a monster. He's got a gut shot with the heart draw. Jonathan with 40% equity, even though he's got 8 high. Pete with the best of it still with kings. And ace-queens have both pretty much completely blanked out.
You know, I had a lesson with somebody on the phone, and she asked me today, how do I play my draws? And I said,
how would you play this if you're Jonathan,
well,
actually? Let's get to specifically this hand here.
If I'm
multi-way, you've got a gut shot with the hearts.
I'm raising, because if I'm up against a player who I think can fold, and this guy bets out, so I think he has a hand. If I'm up against a guy who I think can fold, I'm going to play it as a semi-bluff. If I'm up against a bad guy who I don't think it's going to fold, I'm going to call, wait to hit my hand, and then bet for value because he's not going to fold. But so if I think Pete is capable of folding here, I'm going to play this strong, and it looks like Jonathan is going to play it strong. He also has that backdoor equity with the, you know, he can pick up some open-ended draws as well on the turn.
I mean, you can see the equity here. He's got 40% equity already. Any 9 gives him a straight. Any heart gives him the flush.
And if I'm Pete here and I've seen Jonathan play somewhat snug the entire time, I think it's actually interesting that it's a small raise because it went 300 to 750. If he had made like 850, I would probably just bet fold. I don't think there's anything wrong with folding actually now, but the raise is so small. It would be interesting to see how Pete will play this.
Yeah, the issue is, of course, you know, obviously, Pete now is $2,300, and he's going to make the call. Pete's $2,300 deep. Before, when he only had $1,000, much easier to get in with kings. But now with $2,300, and Jonathan's got him covered, he's got to realize he's playing for his entire stack. Jack of hearts. And doesn't really change much except 8-9 got there now. If he had some sort of combo 8-9 draw.
See, normally if I'm going to raise this flop here with 6-8, I'm still driving here because I think that Pete has a hand. And if I put the pressure on the turn, if I think he's capable of folding, I'm driving forward.
That's what I'm saying. If you know he has aces or kings here, are you firing the river? And how much are you firing? Pot's 1,800.
Betting the turn here.
Betting the turn. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I am.
And what are you betting? Are you betting, what, 850?
He's got, how much does he have left?
Pete only has 1850 left, so you want to time it. You want to obviously size it right where you theoretically could get it all in on the river.
He's betting 500, so he's actually giving himself kind of making it look like I'm going to shove the river. I probably would have bet 8 or 9 because I think it gets the same thing done. It looks less bluffy than an all-in.
I probably bet a little bit. Yeah, I probably bet somewhere in between the two of you guys because I want to put it where it's like, okay, if Pete's got 1850, if I bet like 7.25, then I got a nice $1,100 bet on the river.
Phone's on the table. I know, but
Now you're betting this though because you're not going to bet the river.
Is it 700 or 500? I know that we have 500 up there, but if we can get a zoom in on those white chips, I think it's interesting. Yeah,
It is
it's
7.
It makes a lot more.
I
I
like
actually
that
like
bet.
that bet. Yeah, I like the bet.
Now the thing is, I was going to say if he bets 900, you can actually safely you can give up if you miss.
Now the problem here too is for Pete. If Pete wants to continue on with his stack size, he has to check raise all in. This is an all in or a fold here.
Yeah.
You know, and it is what it is. And Jonathan has basically, and Jonathan's probably can't fold because he's going to be getting 6 or 7 to 1, and you know exactly what Pete has when he's paying like this. He has an overpair. But I think it looks less bluffy than just a shove all in.
It would be 4,100, about 1,100 to call. You'd be getting more than 3 to 1, almost like 3.7 to 1 on your call. So obviously Jonathan is committed.
The only disaster is if Pete ended up with something like ace king of hearts or ace queen of hearts or
And this
something
is
like
a tough
that.
situation because you start putting your opponent on a range of hands. You go, okay, well, I raised, but I got called in 7 spots. What kind of hands could Jonathan have? Could he have deuces? Yes. Could he have 10s? Yes. Could he have 7s? Yes. Could he have 8, 9? Yes.
What did he do? He said call? Wow. See, I don't think calling here is really correct because of the fact that you can get value from these combo draws. Because what is he going to do? Check call, check fold? He's not going to check fold if a brick comes now, right? So he's allowing his opponent to play the river perfectly, where he's actually giving him a free amount that's left in his stack.
Let me throw this at you though. Pete's got 1150 behind. If you're Jonathan, if you don't hit the 9 or the heart, are you giving up, or are you going to barrel off? Are you going to try to sell this as much as you can?
I'm probably not barreling off unless for some reason I think that the guy's got the ace-high flush draw. And now I'm definitely not. Now I give up. Now I give up because the only hand that he might play in this manner here, I think, would be like ace-king or ace-queen of hearts, which is now paired up, which I don't think he's folding. So
All in.
And he moves in. He moves it in. I mean, the ace doesn't change anything.
Actually, I think the ace changes a lot. I don't like this move in here. And the only hand I think he's shoving here on the river is like 8 now. Because aren't you, if you're Jonathan and you've got a set, aren't you a little wary, a little bit of the fact that your opponent might have a set of aces now?
No, but you're always putting it in though. I don't like the play by John. I don't like the move in here.
Okay.
I don't like the move in, but I don't like Pete's just call. And the ace doesn't change anything in terms of for Pete. Because and now Pete folds, and Pete got himself he made a huge mistake in the sense that I just don't understand why. I guess he figured, well, this is a spot where I could check call the turn with the intention of check folding the river.
So on the river, let me ask you this: on the
It's
river, if you've got a set of deuces, he's playing the set of deuces the same way. Let's say, right?
Yeah.
On the river, if you have a set of deuces, you're moving all in on the river as well, obviously.
Yeah, I think so. With these stack sizes,
what are you getting called by? I guess you're getting called by ace, king of hearts.
What do you mean? Because he folded kings here? I mean, because he folded kings specifically here?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of like, are you moving in with deuces? Can you get called by worse? And maybe you can. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know.
So you're saying because you're saying that he
I'm not
might
really saying
check back
anything.
deuces?
I'm asking.
Well,
I'll just put it the way. I'll put it this way. If I was in Jonathan's spot, and I'll throw this to our viewers because I'm curious what the viewers feel. If I'm in Jonathan's spot, I'm putting my opponent on aces or kings, right? It looks like he has an overpair, and it looks like he probably has aces or kings.
or queens.
Right. Now, if he has one of those hands, aren't I at least, I mean, Jonathan moved all in on the river like it was not even a thought. Like, aren't you at least thinking like, oh, wow, God, that guy had an ace. Maybe the ace is, maybe he had a set now.
I'll throw something else at you.
I'm curious. I don't know.
I'll throw something else at you, too. If Jonathan had played the nut flush draw that way, like, say I was sitting there. What was the flop? Was Jack 10?
No, 10-7 deuce, 2 hearts.
Oh, 10-7 deuce, 2 hearts.
So if you had like what, ace 7 hearts, something like that.
How about just like any ace X of hearts, and then the guy checks the
Ace
river.
queen of hearts, something like that. Yeah, okay. I was trying to think of to raise pot.
Yeah, but any nut flush draw. Say he's got like ace 3 of hearts. He raises the flop, drives the turn, and now in the river the guy checks, and you have the ace, and you're like, I think the guy specifically has kings or queens. I'm going to move in here. So that's why it's tough sometimes to make that call when you put yourself in that weird scenario. For Pete, especially if you're up against the guy that actually might be able to value bet ace X of hearts. That's why I think for Pete it's either check, shove, go with it on the turn.